up, y'all? It's me, Erica, honey. We are down here, girl. We was listening to Usher. First of all, I don't know. My son put on Daddy's Home. He said that's their song they singing. I don't know why. Why are y'all singing that on the damn bus coming from the basketball game? He was like, we was singing that yesterday. It's so funny. Anyway, so girl, what's up? What's going on? Go ahead and like the video because I know you ain't liked it yet. Y'all just be coming in and taking a seat. Sign in. Go to the back, get a refreshment. Let the people know you in the house. I remember 8701. Let me tell you something. This girl, I did a stint down at Nordstrom for the holiday season one year, right? And fragrances and cosmetics. Girl, and this girl, I let this girl borrow my 8701. That's how long ago it was. I had the CD, 8701 CD. I let her borrow my CD. And she ain't gave it back. It's been 20 some years. When did 8701 come out? It's been 20 some years, child. Oh, sure did. I want my damn CD back. So what's up? What are y'all getting into? I don't know what's going on down to the blogs, girl. The only thing somebody tagged me, MoNique's son. He came out talking about his mother. Let's listen to it. Let's listen to it while we make it to our destination, so I don't have to do no talking. It's about 5 minutes, right? So just listen. This is her oldest son. I think her firstborn son. She mentioned him in her interview, and he wanted to come out to set the narrative, get the narrative together, and set it straight. So let's go. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Oh, and then Azalea Banks came out and said something about Beyonce. She was actually right. She's good. She's actually
to ask God for what you want.
Hold on.
And then He gives you what you need.
She needs to. They need to. I know they try to like push Azalea Banks to the side because the things that she says, she comes off bitter, right? And she comes off unhinged. She's a Gemini. When I say we, I'm talking about Mercury's children. We gonna say what the F we need to say. And some might like it. If you don't like it, well, you don't like it then. But what she said about Beyonce, I'm gonna read that after we talk about MoNique's child coming out, ripping her mask off. Now I know y'all gonna get in the comments. Because I know how y'all girls like to tussle. But you know what I always say, be mindful of the role you play in somebody's life, because one day they're going to tell their story about their experience with you, including your children, and the mask you have on for everybody about your child and the things you say about your child. One day when they do not depend on you for their survival, they will speak, honey. It don't matter the age, they will speak. And guess who else is going to come out? The village is going to try and silence them, right? Because y'all have an image that y'all need to stand up for. We're standing up for MoNique. We're standing up. And now her child comes out and tells a story about his mother. And y'all want him to be quiet. Hey, watch out. Stay behind me, lady. You moving too close. You're too close. So let's listen to MoNique's son, her oldest son, talk.
Hi. I am Shalon. I am a stand-up comedian, MoNique's oldest son. I guess I felt the need to make this video to just provide some context into this false narrative about her praying to the universe. I know to reconcile our relationship or whatever the hell it is. I wrote it all down so that way I don't go all over the place and get emotional or anything like that. So I'm gonna talk like I'm reading a script, but it's just gonna help me kind of stay together.
Okay.
But to address the Club Shay interview that she did, where she states that she prays to the universe in regards to reconciling our relationship, as I stated, is odd. My mother and I both know that that is a very false narrative, and I would like to free her of having to continue telling that lie.
Come on, free her.
Faith without work is dead, and neither one of us cares to put forth any effort to reconcile with the other. We are separate, as she put it, because she doesn't care to be my mother any more than I care to be her son. Neither one of us has had the desire to reach out to the other in a very long time, and I don't think that either of us anticipates that feeling ever returning. Speaking with my mother directly, in my experience, will either lead to some odd newfound moment of clarity in regards to how she was as my mother, or she retreats back to daddy to move forward with a conversation. And I'm tired of hearing my mother's truths. Newsflash, I'm not sure if people know, but standing in your truth doesn't make you noble. I'm not sure if people are aware of that. But responding this way, I feel as though it allows me to say my piece uninterrupted. To those wondering, well, why say something now? Call it a form of therapy for me, I suppose. But when her daddy had intentionally stated that they have 3 sons, but his wife is on the internet talking about the 4th son in a video that has millions of views, that rubbed me the wrong way. But anyway, to inform a child that you are not interested in being a mother at a time when that kid is the only kid that has the potential to lead a child to believe that you are not interested in them specifically. But to take it a step further, you also admit, my mother had also admitted to me that she didn't do the best job that she could do, um, which would also make one begin to question, all of your past decisions and prior emotional interactions. But to be completely honest and fair, um, those were things that I was willing to get over. Nobody's perfect. We're all human. But my mother showed a clear lack of humility, compassion, and consideration when taking any level of accountability for those things.
There's that thing, a lack of humility. A lack of humility. But you were so great to work with. Okay.
My mother does a fantastic job of acknowledging a lot of things, but she doesn't take accountability very well, and anything that she may take true account.
And it's not accountability. Y'all use it wrong. Because she's taking account. She knows exactly what she's done. She just doesn't take responsibility for it. That's all.
Accountability for it's only at her convenience, in my experience. But if I had to guess, though, her interest in being a mother probably started around the time that she married her daddy and had his children. But that interest, obviously seemed one-sided, and as it should have been. By that time, I'm in my late teens, so to some degree, the excuse me, the neglect becomes easier to hide or validate, I guess you could say. There are now 2 baby boys in the house, that require attention. But still, during that time, however, I still watched her enjoy the love and admiration of total strangers more than my own. To this very day, my mother has never expressed to me when, if ever, she became interested in me as her son. That did lead me down a path of questioning my self-worth and struggling to understand the value of a mother in a child's life. In the interview, she also states that she gave me an apology, but an apology to a son from a mother that consciously showed no interest in him holds no weight. There are still women to this day that my mother will give credit to for being more of a mother to me than she ever could. Her assistant, my cousin, being one of them. Every time, though, that my mother would state that she was right here whenever I was ready, that ideology still blows my mind today, that a person could openly admit to being an uninterested, not put my best foot forward type of parent, and be so self-centered that they still express to the kid, you have to come to me when you're ready. You got to come to me for us to make this right. Okay. But I'm not sure what my mother could possibly think that she has shown me in the past or have for me now that's not money, goodness gracious, that would make me want to come to her, or whatever those feelings are supposed to be. Um, a mother is supposed to be the first woman that a boy falls in love with. I loved my mother
I
very
don't agree with
much,
that.
but my mother loved things more than she loved me, and she would validate her love for me by giving me things, and would proceed to call me ungrateful or inconsiderate if said things did not have the desired effect. Um, I couldn't imagine what it's like to be her, though. To ask God for what you want, and then He gives you what you need, though, only for you to ignore it and have the audacity to ask God for something else. And I'm glad I don't. I'm glad I didn't do that. And when He told you no, you went to the universe instead. By no
Separating
means, though,
source and
do I want to
God.
give off any type of an impression that I am a victim of anything.
Okay.
That is not the case. As you can see, I'm smiling from ear to ear. I'm alive. I'm happy. I'm a dad. I'm healthy, I think. I drink a lot of water. I'm getting over a cold now. I still have my days just like everybody else. And, there were a few things that she did teach me along the way. I did learn how not to love from my mother. I also learned to make sure that I never lose so much of who I am that I have to validate it through another person.
Baby.
And though I feel as though, in hindsight, I think she did it reluctantly. I do appreciate my mother, for showing me what the top of the mountain looks like. You know what I'm saying? It did give me perspective on what hard work and dedication can get you, but I don't want something like that at the cost of giving up something that I created. I don't want it that bad. And speaking of creations, I genuinely, truly, I really did want my mother to have a relationship with my daughter. I even fought through those intrusive thoughts that were, if she wasn't interested in you, what makes you think she's going to be interested in your kid? But it took my mother no time at all to prove that those intrusive thoughts were correct. But what I can say, good for her, the universe did, bless her with three other sons. Bless her with three other sons, and God willing, I'm sure that one of them, all three of them are adults now. So I'm sure that one of them, God willing, if not all three of them, will make her the grandmother that she wants to be. I still look forward, to that moment for her. But overall, when it comes to the boys, though, I am happy that whenever they do hear me talk, sorry, my phone did something weird, but whenever they hear me talk, they don't know what it is. They can't relate to what it is that I'm saying. My experience with my mother is not their experience with our mother. So my prayer for her and them is that they continue to see her the way that they see her now. I do also want to make sure that I say thank you to my mother for giving me life. Without that moment in time, I wouldn't have had my little one. But outside of that moment, there isn't anything that either of us has to offer the other. In my opinion, it's a waste of God's time and the universe's time for praying for something that you are not willing to put forth any effort to obtain. Putting the work into becoming MoNique is more important to my mother than being my mother. And I do not believe that it was never about her being there and waiting for me, but it was supposed to be about me being there and waiting for her. My mother's value had reached such a low point in my life that I no longer found it necessary to either want to wait for her or even go to her. But like I said, man, I'm super grateful that she has the opportunity to do it all over again. I'm happy for her. I hope the Cat Williams tour goes well, but the narrative that she prays for us to reconcile is a false narrative. It's not real, and I'd appreciate it if she stopped saying stuff like that.
What do y'all think? Let me know what y'all think about what her son said. Um, Naturally, there are people in the comments who want to silence him, because his words, first of all, that's her child. And first of all, I do appreciate that he wrote the stuff out so he wouldn't get emotional and maybe like come out of, get decentered. And so to remain center, I typed it out so I can be, I appreciate that, right? We appreciate that. We see children of celebrities come out. We hadn't seen MoNique. This is a grown ass man. And it's a mask. As long as your mother is running around telling people a story and you don't come out and say anything, she's wearing a mask as it relates to how she showed up in the relationship with you and how you experienced her. And what you do when you speak, you rip the mask off. You rip the mask off. Whatever story she done told about you, when you start to speak, you will rip them, and these children will rip your fucking mask off. These children, your children. Yeah, it'd be your own kids. Exactly. It'd be your own kids. And for good reason. I get to say and I get to share every human I've come in contact with in my life and had an experience with, no matter how short or how long. I get to share that experience. Now, how you showed up, be mindful, because I'm going to say how I experienced you. And if you running around telling one story, trying to make it seem like you care about the sweet babies, all that patronizing bullshit y'all be falling for. You know what I realized yesterday? MoNique speaks to the perpetual victim. That's who she speaks to. She speaks to the perpetual victim. Remember how she said in that interview with Shannon that her husband, when she got with her daddy, he helped her come out of that victimhood. She hasn't come out of that victimhood. She hasn't. It has literally been 14 years. Same with MoNique. She can tell her story. If she experienced Lee, Tyler, and Oprah, the Golden Girls, if she experienced the Golden Girls like that, then that is her story. But one thing that's so important when you are telling your story about a human that you've had a certain experience with, you have to tell the truth. Come on, money. You got to tell the truth.
I wasn't going to address this, but people are coming from...
Girl, shut up. You're going to have to tell the truth. That's the most important part about it. If you had an experience with me and you want to share your experience, go ahead. But tell the truth about you and tell the truth about me and how you experience me. Tell your truth. But don't lie. Don't get up there. Don't get up there and start lying now. Okay? And start telling some stories, sweet babies. That's why that shit is so patronizing. That sweet babies and I love us for real. She gets on. She speaks also to the Black Power people, right? The Justice League. You know, she speaks to those people. We got to do right by us. Why are you sitting around talking to a white man? Why are you sitting around? I assume her interview was with a white man. Talking about Tiffany Haddish. You gonna let these white motherfuckers come in here and move us around? Da, 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 da. You performing for white people? You know what? How she says little things about Lee, Tyler, not Lee, but Tyler and Oprah. And if you listen to him, he said lack of humility, lack of accountability, and like I said this morning, I hope he's not no bum out here. But that does not negate his experience with his mother. I appreciate that he wasn't hollering and screaming and super duper, decentered out of his emotion. His emotions are regulated, right? He smiled quite a few times, but some people. I'm going to read some of your comments because I posted it on the community tab this morning. But I want to read some comments from the post on Twitter first. That's what I want to read first. So let's do that. MoNique has constantly admitted not to being there like she should have when she was a young mother. I feel like every time that MoNique has something going on around her, Shalon comes out of the woodworks. He is allowed to feel however he wants, but don't act like she's been hiding you. What? That doesn't make sense. Hiding him. She hasn't been hiding him. He just doesn't speak because he doesn't see the value in even trying to correct the things that she's saying. If you're talking about me on a grand stage, that's why Mike Epps said something about Shannon Sharp, because you in an interview with Cat Williams and you mentioned me. What you mentioning me for? You trying to get him to talk shit about me? You mentioned me in one of your little funky ass interviews. I have a right to come out and say, hey, let me straighten something up. She's telling a story. It's not quite true. So let me tell you my side of the story. Let me tell you my experience. Let me tell you my truth. This is my experience with this woman. As you heard him say, at a point in his life, he felt there was no value there. I don't even have to try to do anything. You're just another person. Thanks for giving me life. Thank you for being the vessel which I shot out of. But at the end of the day, you have the label as mother. You didn't do the things that you were supposed to do as a mother. So now you're just another person. You're just a person. You literally are we all are just people at the end of the day, related or not. And at the end of the day, we're all cousins. All of us. All of us are cousins from one mother, from one mama, honey. All of us. That's the crazy part. That's why I be looking at my DNA ancestry thing, because you meet somebody and they be like, this is your fourth cousin. You be like, oh my God, I didn't even know. And you people are typically attracted. It's so funny because when they find out, they're like, we were fourth cousins, and they were attracted to them in some way. Yeah, because y'all family. We all family at the end of the day. But back to Shalon, he's not she's not trying to hide him. She speaks about him. She has said, and a part of her statement is true. She has talked about not being the best mother. But do you just do you try to reconcile that? Maybe she doesn't. Maybe he's like, you don't need to. It's no tea, no shade. Go about your business. Go with your daddy and your 3 sons, honey, and dick worship over there. Just be over there. And you see him calling Sydney her daddy. That's so gross. Oh, how are you a mother and you have these boys looking at you and you calling this nigga daddy? Oh God, it's disgusting. I said, be mindful of the role that you play in someone's life, because one day they're going to tell their story and share their experience with you. Bro said, I also learned never to lose who I am, that I have to be validated in another person. That's facts. If you haven't noticed, MoNique's mission, one is to get people to respect the dick that she worships. That's one. Two, Sydney didn't have to come into MoNique's life to raise a well-behaved child. She admits she was a unruly, foul-mouthed, didn't know her place ass woman. Do you not think that translated into her professional life? If it shows up with her husband and it shows up with her son, you mean to tell me it didn't show up with Tyler and Oprah and whoever else, and to the people who she didn't even respect as much as she says she respected Oprah and Tyler? Can you imagine? And the way that she speaks about them, but she still respects them, because what she does and what black people like to do, they like to beat your ass and then turn around and tell you they love you. That's another thing that MoNique does. Talk to you fucking crazy and abusive and then say, I love you. What? Oh, okay. Can you imagine the people she didn't have respect for? The people that she didn't think that she thought were beneath her? Humility, right? The lack of humility had her scooting up in her chair, ready to accept an award that went to Tisha Campbell. She said it. And all you got to do is listen to MoNique talk. She says multiple times how she was difficult to work with. She tells you, oh, you ain't going to get me in no room because Sydney got to be there. Why? Are you going to get unruly? Are you going to become unregulated in your emotions or dysregulated in your emotions? What's about to happen that Sydney needs to come in here and tame his misbehaving child? The children will speak, honey. Oh, let me read here. This is a sad situation. Unpopular opinion, but it's easy to take the stance when mama is here living. Hurts like hell leaving it like it is till there's no chance to fix it. Not saying he's wrong at all. I get it. Just saying I've seen those situations usually play out. Somebody says he's gay. I feel for him. That generation of parents are notorious for not taking accountability and gaslighting. She is an older Gen X who has the remnants of baby boomer parenting styles. And baby boomers, I'm sorry if you feel like this is a shot at you, but this is all tea, all shade. Y'all fucked up a lot of Gen X and millennials. You did. You did. Y'all fucked us up with your parenting style, the lack of humility, this need to be in a hierarchical position where it's, if you speak against the things that I've done to you and advocate for yourself, I see that as disrespectful. You know how toxic that is, to be silenced. You can't speak up for yourself. How many parents act like that? Like Danny DeVito in Matilda. I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're small. I'm better than you. You ain't better than me. You respect me, fear me. Don't talk over me. Don't speak up for yourself. You speaking up for yourself is disrespectful to me. I'm your parent. You don't get to say that to me, but you get to talk to me any kind of way. You get to lay hands on me. You see, Martel wants to lay hands on his children in 2024. You got to be a crazy motherfucker if you still laying your hands on your children. If you are still violating your child's body by hitting them, you got to unlearn that. If you're doing it, stop it and go apologize and look your child dead in their eyes, not standing over them. Get eye level with them and apologize for violating them. Corporal punishment, that's dead. A lot of you baby boomers, older Gen X, because Gen X is a large span. I'm younger Gen X, Gen X, almost millennial. They call us Zennials because we're closer to the, we're digital, digital and analog children. You know what I'm saying? But them older Gen X, they be on that mammy, pick me, mammy, male identified shit. I'm Gen X. I had to unlearn that shit. I'm telling you, I was male identified. I still gave these niggas hell, but I still looked at a man's perspective and gave the men the benefit of the doubt over the woman. I had some fucked up ideologies and ways at looking at things, even though I still gave men the blues. I was still male. Either you would pick me, honey, a mammy, right? Running after niggas, pick me. Oh, I'm gonna say anything so you can come on, money. You can pick me. I'm gonna say anything so you can pick me. And then you got the male identified who sit up there and laugh with niggas when they talking about women's pussies, who sit up there and laugh at jokes against women, who like Corey Holcomb's jokes, right? How he's so disgusting to women and how he speaks about women and relationships and stuff like that. If you think his comedy is funny, you male identified. I used to laugh, cackle, at Corey Holcomb's comedy. But when you unlearn that shit and you step out of that shit and you look back, you're like, girl, how could I have laughed? Look at how disgusting he is. I was laughing at stuff like that. That's how you know it's a deep, 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 deep programming. And the women need deprogramming. So those baby boomers and older Gen X and millennials, it's a lot of women that just need to unlearn either mammying for these niggas. That mean you just being a maid, a mule, or a mattress. You serving them, you helping them, you giving them ideas, you're helping them build their shit up. They don't do nothing in return. They give you bad advice. Didn't I tell you MoNique was them aunties that are late? They don't know what the fuck is going on in the world. They expect women to show up a certain way when it comes to relationships. They worship dick. They throw dick. Tiffany Haddish threw MoNique's husband's dick at her. Like, girl, I wouldn't want no man like that. Oh, you wish you had a man like me or you wouldn't have no DUIs. Did the man in your life help you repair the relationship with your male child? Did he try? Because he's the only thing that Sydney has managed to do for MoNique is fuck up her legacy. Fuck it up. Tear it up. Destroy it. All because you want to feel like some motherfucking pimp hovering over her in the background with your motherfucking lip gloss on. Sydney. Ugh. And then people want to say, and everybody going up, y'all some that typical black struggle love where the nigga ain't shit and you prop him up as your king. That's some typical black woman shit. Black women who are fucking dizzy eyes over the patriarchy, enforcing the patriarchy, enforcing that shit. The people don't want you to say nothing about MoNique because of what she symbolizes, right? Dark skin, black, fat, black woman being mistreated, right? Having gone through things. All of us have gone through things. All of us have gone through things. And it does dictate how we show up. But so many people have the same story. And you're like, what other people have said she was difficult to work with? A lot of people have said it. On the set of, what is that Will Packer film? There were some people on there that said she was difficult to work with. And you're going to tell me, you can't tell me that your lack of humility, lack of accountability shows up with your children, shows up with your husband, but doesn't show up to Tyler Perry and Oprah. It doesn't show up like that. You were able to modify your behavior. No, you weren't, because according to you, Sydney has to come in and regulate your emotions. That's how you regulate your emotions. Your daddy has to be right there to soothe you. And then y'all really be, like I said, MoNique speaks to the perpetual victim. I want to talk about Azalea Banks. I don't have enough time. That was MoNique's son, y'all. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Get down in the comments. Here, let me read. I do want to, I be wanting to read comments and stuff. Let me see what the comments say. Someone said, listen, I was searching his face to see if there was real joy like he professes. I hope all is well. I watched it, my God, today. Thank you for sharing this. It's sad to say I'm not surprised. I always believe the children. Oh, wow, I felt that. I know there's two sides to this, but he was so clear. His mother wounds are deep. This is how hurt people. The cringe of him saying once she married her daddy and gave him children, honey. Not only that, right? Woo, I felt every word he said. As someone with a mother like this, I unfortunately know what a heartbreaking journey it takes to get to a place he is. Having to grieve a parent that is still physically here but emotionally left or was never there to begin with is hard as fuck, to say the least. For me, double so, because I had to grieve losing my father at a very young age. I know the exhaustion and pain in his face all too well. I hope he continues to work towards healing himself and gains a level of permanent emotional and psychological detachment he needs to protect his heart and his own family's emotional safety. Somebody said, wow, this is a revelation we didn't see coming. Thanks, Lizelle. That was that comment that I just read was Lizelle. Thanks for sharing that. I started questioning MoNique's parenting when she compared her relationship between a parent and child to that of an enslaver and an enslaved, a cop and a criminal. I remember that. Y'all say y'all love the kids. Don't talk about the kids. The kids are off limits. The kids are off limits. And then you don't even see children as your equal. And that's the thing that baffles me, that so many adults, they grow up and they forget. I know you were only a child for what? From 1 to 20, 1 to 18 legally, but 1 to 25, biologically, mentally, right? So how do you grow up and forget what it was like to be a child, and to forget how these adults acted with you? You were an adult. You forgot what it was like to be a child so much that you dismissed the child, knowing good and goddamn well you came from a family where if you spoke up for yourself, that was seen as disrespectful. I know I'm not the only one who came from a family like that, especially the paternal side, where they work. When I tell you they worship them niggas over there on my dad's side, girl, woo, worship. I remember just growing up. I'm telling you, I've always given these niggas the blues, even though I've participated in this shit. I've always given men the blues and been sitting there. I would get called lazy every holiday because I would sit amongst the men while all the women were in the kitchen. Would get called I would get called lazy for not serving the man, not cleaning up after the man. Girl, I didn't care. Call me lazy. I didn't give a fuck. I know good and goddamn well I'm not cleaning up after no grown ass niggas with dicks and balls and shit. I'm not grown ass niggas. I'm not doing that. I don't play that game. Ain't never played that game. Never. If I wanted to give you a plate, it's because I wanted to. I was being nice, not because I had to or felt obligated to. Fuck that. Girl. Y'all know I read Erica's caption in MoNique's voice. Sidebar. I wish grown women stop calling these men daddy. Think of what it does psychologically to the little girls that are still growing. And all MoNique talks about is the sweet babies. What are we going to do for the babies? Well, you got a grandchild over there. You got a grandchild. And you've been so ain't shit to your child that he doesn't even want you to be able to imprint that bullshit on his children. He's breaking a cycle. You're not going to be able to do what you did to me to my children. No, you won't. Because you ain't changed. You never going to change because you don't think you've done anything wrong. And when you go with your grievances to your parents and they conveniently forget, you know why they forget? Because they inflicted the trauma. You were the receiver. So that's why you remember. Those imprints are on you. That's not on them. They were the one to inflict the pain. Why would they remember? That didn't make no mark on them. They marked you up. Imprinted all that shit on you. That's why they don't remember. You blocked out beating your child till they're screaming to the top of their lungs, whelps on their back and shit. You don't think they did? You think they forgot that because they grew up? No, they look at you now and you're like, you beat me like that. You hit me like that. For what? Because you was mad? Because I wasn't mimicking what you wanted me to be? I didn't want to be what you wanted me to be. I didn't act the way you wanted me to act. So you get frustrated and tell your child to go get a switch off the tree. Y'all laugh about that shit, but it has harmed so many people. And if you don't think that the way you were parented and disciplined as a child doesn't show up in your intimate partnerships, you got another thing coming. You better think about that one again. Shout out to Eartha Kitt. You better think about that one again.
You must think about that one again.
So when these children get old enough, I tell you, let me tell you a true testament to how well you parented. If your children have a choice, when they get older, they have a choice to be around you. And if they choose not to be around you, you didn't do well. You didn't do that well. Like Toni Braxton said at that table with her family, if y'all weren't my family, I wouldn't fuck with y'all. Y'all wouldn't be my friends. That's how I feel about my mother. I'd be like, girl, as a grown woman, I wouldn't fuck with you at all. Like, girl, You might be nice to all these people and got all these people thinking you the sweetest girl in the world. But I have a different experience. And yes, they try to manipulate you and control you with money and then call you ungrateful, girl. I know it all too well. I know it all too well. I wonder how old he is. God damn. Good for him. Nothing surprises me, and this is all too familiar. Pain begins when love lies. And he spoke. I am not a mother. However, I've seen friends do and say things to their children that hurt me. I've even tried to warn them. You know they're going to remember this, right? You are creating memories for your children. I call them imprints. I do. I call them imprints. You're imprinting this on me. And those are the wounds that you have to heal. And you will not be able to do it to my offspring. No. I remember when I recognized, I was like, okay, even though I don't really get along with my mom, I still want the boys to have a relationship with her. Then she started doing the same. I I recognize it immediately. That's why you have to unlearn stuff so that when you see it happening again, you're able to identify it and then take another course of action. I remember she started doing the same shit she used to do to me. She started doing it to my sons. And I said, you're not going to be able to do that again. You're not going to do that to them. You're not going to do that to them. You're not going to get to. So because you have an inability to take accountability and to acknowledge, you cannot, there's no space. And then you say, I'm sorry. And then 4 weeks later, you're doing the same thing because you don't think that you did anything wrong. You just saying sorry so you can siphon that energy again and get close to that person again. You're not going to be able to. That is why it's so important to be able to identify when the shit is happening again. Let me tell you something about this game of life. We are all on our journey with our knapsacks full of tools that we are acquiring on the way. You have to be able to recognize you are going to have situations on this journey where you didn't make the right decision, right? And you suffered, whatever that looks like. And you suffered for not making the wrong decision. Maybe you've never had the experience before and you didn't really know how to navigate and it didn't turn out well. But guess what's going to happen on your journey? It's going to come up again. The same situation. It might be different players, but it's going to be the same situation. And if you haven't done the work, you're not going to be able to recognize it. And it's going to happen again. Needless suffering. Then you're going to suffer again. You're going to get back on the road in your journey, and it's going to come up again until you learn it's literally like a video game. Until you learn the lesson, until you learn the board, until you realize, oh, I remember when I got to this corner, a zombie jumped out. So I know I'm not going to hit that corner again. Some of you y'all keep hitting that corner and motherfuckers keep jumping out. You know why? Because you ain't learned the lesson. You haven't unlearned, you haven't done the work. You haven't done the work. Either you blaming, you playing victim or whatever the fuck, but you need to do the work. So then when you get back on that road and it comes and you see that corner again, you know, okay, I'm not going to make a right. I'm going to make a left. Because I know if I make a right, there's something right there waiting for me. And I don't want to have that experience again. So now I'm going to make a left. And you make the left and you look over your shoulder and you see that motherfucking zombie waiting for you. And you know, and guess what? It won't come up again. After you pass that level, you don't go back to that level after you pass it. But guarantee if you don't pass it, it's going to keep showing up. It's going to be different players. But if you haven't done the work, sweetheart, you're not going to be able to recognize it. You won't. And you will keep going through it over and over and over again. Like you girls trekking through the tundra. I don't know what you're looking for. And I don't know how many times you got to hit the corner. I don't know how many times you got to hit a bump and get stuck. And your wheels are going because you stuck. And you keep running the wheels. And you're just getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And then you finally get out. And here you go, trekking the tundra once again. Here comes that fucking ditch again. And you drive right into the fucking ditch. Your car. Wheels just turning and spinning. Until you fucking learn the lesson, the path is not going to change. It's going to keep the same until you choose a different path. But you're not going to choose a different path if you ain't unlearned it. If you ain't learned the lesson will keep showing up until you learn it. It's like a video game. All of this shit is like a video game. And you parents out there who are still putting your hands on your children, stop it and apologize to them. Girl, I just got emotional. I just felt that right in my stomach, in my solar plexus. I felt it. Y'all apologize to your children. I'm telling you, apologize to them. and look them in their face and say, I'm sorry I put my hands on you. I'm sorry I violated your person. Nobody should ever put their hands on you in an aggressive way if it's not in a loving way that you haven't consented to. Consent is real, y'all. And you putting your hands on somebody because what? You think you have authority over them to the point where you can physically harm them? Unlearn it today. If you are putting your hands on your children and you think you turned out, Martel Holt thinks he turned out okay. And he thinks he can use the same form of discipline that his mother used on him, on his children, and expect them to turn out okay. And it seems to be that he targets the little boy. I guess he's trying to make him a man by beating him. A lot of these kids, especially the boys, their first introduction to masculinity is violence. Your rite of passion, violence, SA. It's a lot of shit these boys be going through. I hope and pray that when my sons get older and they share with the world their experience of their mother, that I come out favorable. Because I apologize. The other day I wore my son. I was hollering at him because he broke something of mine and didn't tell me he broke it. And I found it was broken and I got pissed. And I said, if you would have told me that you broke it, instead of trying not to tell me you broke it, I wouldn't have gotten mad. I really wouldn't have. My sons have dropped plates, broken glasses. I don't get upset because I know accidents happen. It's okay. And they looking scared, right? Go ahead, clean it up, sweep it up, get the glass, put some socks on, go put your shoes on, sweep up the mess that you made. Accidents happen. What am I going to get mad for a broken glass? I can just go to the goddamn Target and get a whole fucking some more plates. But if you broke something of mine, you need to come and tell me, Mommy, I accidentally broke this. I'm sorry. I made him give me the money because that lighter was $8. Okay? And I told him, go get $8 out of your piggy bank because you're going to replace this. I don't play that. But I would holler at him. I was mad. I tell you, I was pissed. But the next day, I explained to him why I was angry and I apologized for yelling at him. And you know what he told me? I understand why you were upset. I understand why you were upset. And we gave each other a hug and told each other we loved each other. But I looked him in the eye and he apologized for he turned around and said, and I'm sorry. I apologized first. He apologized and said, I'm sorry for breaking your lighter. I should have told you. Because I asked him, have I ever gotten mad at you for breaking something? And he said, one time when they broke something of my grandfather's. You know how much my grandfather means to me. And they broke something of my grandfather's. I was able to repair it. But when they broke it, I was pissed. But I said, have I ever, after that, that was the only time I said, have I ever yelled at you for breaking something? And he said, the one time with my grandfather, but after that, no. I said, so you don't have to be scared to come and tell me you broke something. And he apologized. He said, I'm sorry. I should have come and told you. And we gave each other a hug. But and when he said he was sorry, I said, look at me. We looking at each other because he was like kind of looking off. I said, look at me. I apologize. We apologize to each other. Apologize to your child, especially when you wrong. A lot of people don't think that they're wrong. You can be wrong, parent or not. You're literally just a person. These people, these little children, they've been assigned to you by the divine. And it makes me so sad when I see or hear people mistreating children, because from my perspective, they just got here. They just got here. They just got here. Do you know how close they are to God than you are? And look how you mistreat them. How you mistreat the children of the divine. They just got here. And you mistreating them, putting your hands on them. That's like putting your hands on God. Putting your hands on God's creation, a baby, a defenseless person. And you want to act like you have higher, or you feel good about being over a child, a defenseless child who now has a fucked up ideology about love because you beat them, you put your hands on them, and then you turn around and tell them you love them. Don't be surprised if your child doesn't wind up in a motherfucking abusive relationship or being an abuser. Now, I'm not saying that everybody who had abusive parents turns out to be an abuser, but don't be surprised if it shows up. I found myself yelling at my children. I grew up in a house. My mother all she did was holler, 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 holler. I check in with my kids. What is something you don't like I do? The first thing they told me, all that hollering, get it the fuck up out of here. And I said, you right. I didn't like it, and I know y'all don't like it, and it creates hypersensitivity when somebody's always yelling. It's like, damn. And to this day, I have a problem with I don't like to I don't like to be around a bunch of people. I don't like all that hollering and screaming. I don't like it. So I had to check myself. Like, bitch, you didn't like it as a child. You hated when your mother. So how are you as a person raising children that have been assigned to you for you to guide them into adulthood? You're not this person over. What your job is as a parent is to give the person that has been assigned to you, teach them and give them the tools. Why would you beat on them and hit them because they didn't do something you wanted them to do? Find another form of discipline, especially for boys and girls, for children, period. Stop putting your hands on your children. It's not just because you think you didn't turn out okay. Just because you think you turned out okay because you ain't on the street or on drugs or got a bunch of fucking babies or whatever the fuck not being okay looks like to you. You think you turned out okay, but you got some emotional and psychological and mental health issues. You do. You think you turned out okay and you beating your children, putting your hands on your children, beating them with things, throwing things at them? No. You got to check yourself. You got to check in with yourself and you got to adjust it because these are just people. They're just people and they're dependent on you. They're looking up to you. You want to beat on them and hurt them? I can't get jiggy with that. But guess what they're going to do when they get old enough and they no longer depend on you for their survival? They are going to speak. And what can you do? Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. That's the way you showed up. Be mindful of the role you play in somebody's story because they're going to tell their story. You want to be the good character. You don't want to be the one that they have memories of you causing them pain because they're going to tell their story. The children will speak. They always do. They always do because they grow up and they feel empowered now. And this one person said he come out every time. I haven't seen him come out. I've honestly never seen him before. To be honest, I've never seen MoNique's this son. I've seen another son of hers, little round face son. Maybe that wasn't her son. I don't know. Maybe it was a person in a movie with her. I don't know. I gotta go look. I don't think I know what MoNique's children look like, to be honest. But I tell you one goddamn thing, his experience is his experience. And you can't negate his experience. And he wants you, if you're going to continue to tell a fucking story about him, he wants you to get the story right. The same way you want everybody to get the story right and you claim you a truth teller, tell the truth to shame the devil, bitch. Y'all want to be in that perpetual state of victimhood, male worship and victimhood? There's no progress in that. It's not. Anyways, y'all, I gotta go. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Protect the children. Honestly, truly. And remember what it was like. Take a second today on your lunch break or whatever the fuck, after your siesta, and think about when you were a child and how the parents and the adults around you, the people who thought they were over you, and how they showed up and how they treated you. You didn't like it. I know you didn't like it because I didn't like it. A lot of kids didn't like it. Don't do that to your children. Don't imprint them with the same shit you were imprinted with. Don't make your children be in the goddamn therapist's office because of you. Okay? Anyways, y'all, again, take care of each other, protect your energy, take care of each other for real. And the way that fucking lady, take care of the babies and take care of the babies and take care of them. No, for real, take care of the babies. For real. They are closer to the divine than you are, and they deserve the utmost protection. Period. I don't give a fuck. They do. And when I hear these stories of these people harming children, if you're lucky a woman ain't in charge of punishment styles in this country. Because, baby, people harming children.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Oh, sorry, Siri. People who harm children, they would get the harshest. They would get the harshest penalties. You harming children? Oh, you'll never do it again. You'll never do it again. And we would be able to identify if you harmed the children, because you would be walking around with one hand because your other hand got chopped off. Oh, you was harming children? Oh, he don't have his right hand is gone. His dominant hand is gone. What's your dominant hand? Off with his hand. Okay? The other one, you essaying children, off with your motherfucking head. Line them buckets up. Line them up. Because you out of here. You'll never be able. People who harm children, the way they be letting them out, there will always be children. So you, my love, will always be a fucking threat. So because you're a threat to society, because children will always exist, you're going to stay your ass right in this fucking jail. Because you are a threat to the community. You know why they let them out? Because you motherfuckers really don't give a fuck about children. Because when I watch these cults, I told you the other day, last week, I watched about 16 hours about cults. And guess what the fucking thing that they love to do? Hurt, harm, sexually abuse children. And they mamas handing them over. Bitches. You motherfucking bitches, you. Handing your child over. Your 11-year-old, your 13-year-old. So for some 65-year-old man to pounce up and down on them, you fucking bitch, you. I'd cut your goddamn head off. Ooh. That's one thing I don't play about. Y'all know I don't play about the LGBTQIA, the black queer community. I don't play. And about children, I don't fucking play about children. I'm getting mad just keeping talking about it. I'd have punishments. You would never harm it. You wouldn't even think. You would be afraid to even think about harming a child. Your appendages will just come off. You won't be able to harm a child. And if you do, we cutting you off at the elbow. Oh, that was his second offense? God damn. Next thing you know, the motherfucker ain't going to have an arm. And if you ain't learned by the third offense, then you just will have one arm walking around here. Yeah, so we can identify you, motherfucker. Ain't no goddamn sexual, what is it called? Sex offenders registry. No, we gonna be able to tell because you don't have a hand. Let me be in charge of the motherfucking punishments for people who harm children. You wouldn't want to do it, baby. You talking about cruel and unusual? Girl, take care of each other. Protect your energy. Peace. Girl, the kids and the kids. You understand me? Shit, I have to come back and make it motherfucking clear. Peace.